just maybe first Siyaya's interview and red card, obviously. Uh, Those and obviously impact on the cross.
Yeah, I think from my side, when it comes to Siyaya, you saw what happened with him. I think it was actually with his teammate, and he lost some network there. So even after the game, we were still not sure where he was, but he's still alive. He's moving. He's in the changing room, but he's still in the Disneyland. So otherwise, yeah. With Yakin, red card, listen, respect from the match official calls. The young kid got it wrong. We're trying to keep the game clean. Taking the man out in the air, it's one of the things that we don't want in our systems. So he was just unfortunate, in that situation, but he's also okay. I think the time he was on the field, you could see the brilliant touches that he had. It's a youngster who was only 19, school last year, So once again, from my side, yes, it was disappointing for us to have those cards, but again, they're still young. They're gonna learn, and that's what life is all about. As long as we keep on learning from our mistakes and we keep getting better. Yakin is going to the Junior World Cup, so I wish him all the best, and hopefully see I can also recover quickly to go to represent our country. Also.
Game, obviously there's some individual tries, but Zimbabwe gave
Yeah. Yeah, we knew it was going to be a big challenge, because majority of our players have never played together. It was a new team. But like you said now, when Zimbabwe also tried to give us challenges where they kept ball in hand, that's one thing that I enjoyed about how they played. They tried to keep the ball in hand. And for us, the goal, players, they understand. We wanted to see if they can almost like test match rugby, how we practice, the past 2 weeks, it was all about control and balance that we always talk about and making sure that to see if more especially with our game drivers, if they can control the game, So that's why I know sometimes it's frustrating when you're not getting the points, because there were times in the first half where we were just unlucky. 2 tries that were disallowed. The one I think the player wanted to touch, and then the other one slightly in front of the kick, and that didn't show on the scoreboard, But from my side, the way the guys they stayed in the fight, and even when we were under pressure, there were times where Zim they got inside our 22 and applied pressure on us, and we've managed to keep a clean sheet. So again, from my side, there's a couple of youngsters that took their opportunity, and to be honest with you, it's not only about what happened today in the game. We wanted to see if they can handle also the load and the way we operate as a Springbok team. And some of them, I think they did lift their hands up, most especially if I look at the youngster who played at the back and then also came to 10, Luan, with the sevens background, you can see he's got confidence in what he does. Did very well also, one of the local boys around Eastern Cape, Yako Williams at wing. I felt like those youngsters, they really did very well. But once again, when it comes to the team, yes, we had disappointing moments, but I'm still happy we won the game and we managed to keep the clean sheet.
From what you're saying, I surmise that you feel that this was a very good exercise for you guys and sort of outweigh the loss of Siyaya and discipline.
I think it was good for the players that joined our system for the first time. Now at least, like I said to you guys, it's we're at 2-week camp in Joburg. We all know that it's not easy, to handle the conditions in Joburg with the air. Even us at this age, when we try to do something in the gym, we struggle. I know there's a lot of things in the sense of old age, and also that we're not fit as coaches. But like I said, we really push them hard when it comes to our camp. And then a lot of these youngsters, once again, first week on camp, and then they started to hold back, where they get nervous around the senior players that we've got, and then we try to empower them to make sure that we keep on motivating them to be themselves, and then I think in the second week I can mention a few of those youngsters. I know they don't say much, guys like Pete and Siyaya, but that's one thing that we've been trying to motivate in them is to be themselves. They mustn't hold back. And you saw some of those brilliant moments today. We might not have probably played the best rugby as a team together. But I felt like later on in the game, when the opportunities came, those youngsters, you could see some of them, they were looking for those opportunities. You know, Pete scoring a brilliant try. And then once again, if I look at the forwards also, they were challenged, And but I think one thing, the fact that we've pitched up for the game mentally and physically, we were up there because Zimbabwe, like I said, they tried to keep ball in hand and they came direct. And I think some of our forwards, they stepped up there. So credit must go to the boys. I know some of them, they maybe not that happy, but once again, like I said to you guys, to be able to capitalize when we had those opportunities, 3 tries in the first half, 3 in the second half, and we managed to keep that clean sheet. I think they should be proud of it, And I know one thing for sure: some of these guys, we might get an opportunity for the future, and I'm glad, more especially with some of the youngsters that also have grabbed their opportunity.
In the build up towards this game, what parts of
Yeah, I think once again, like I said, you will hear us talking a lot about control and balance, and that's one of the key things when it comes to test match rugby. You want to see your youngsters being able to control the game. There were a couple of moments in the first half, more especially when we were executing our plan. I'm talking about kicking game, getting into the contest, and putting pressure on their covers. The boys, they've managed to start well there, and then we had opportunities to get inside their 22. But I think one of the biggest lesson points for us is at test match level, if you don't convert when you get a 22-meter entry and convert them into points, you might struggle against probably world-class teams, So I think we did create a lot of opportunities, and like I said, again, when it comes to the control and balance of our players and then also the physical side of the game, I felt like our forwards also, they managed to pitch up, more especially if you look at the guys like Juan Fenter, the way he was playing up front, Nietleng, you could see those are seasoned campaigners for their teams where they come from, So yeah, I think all in all, I'm just happy for the guys to be able to just stay in the fight, because like I said again, it was not an easy game. We were challenged, but I think again, from my side, is seeing the boys when the opportunity came, they were excited with those opportunities. So that's one thing that I was happy about: control and balance in the game.
we know that there's a when you talk about what happened on the field and how you guys, what would you rate all right now, especially with that going
Yeah, I think, like you said, we wouldn't put ourselves in the same group, and I think but they did bring it. We always knew that they were going to be desperate. We always knew that they were going to be hungry, and I think a lot of them are fighting for a lot leading up to the World Cup. So we knew there was going to be a initial fire that they were going to carry, but naturally, like you said, we expected that they wouldn't be able to keep up with us throughout the game, and that's kind of what happened.
Like I said again, there was a moment in the game where I felt like, the Zim boys were in control of the game and they've managed to keep the ball in hand and they were playing physical and direct against us. And then I could see some of the guys were struggling to defend phases there. Once again, like I said, it's easy sometimes to say you can handle a training session, you understand? But when it comes to pressure points in the game, where teams will probably lift ball in play time, and then that's where you're going to see a true character of probably players that have what it takes to play at the test match level. And we've seen some of the guys, when we could see they were starting to get tired, and then whenever we send a call to the staff around on the field, and those players, they said no, they will keep pushing, and you could see they will recover after, and then they'll keep on pushing again. So once again, we're not saying they unfit, but sometimes when it comes to the challenges you get on a time at that time when it comes to polling play time, some of them were challenged today. I can tell you now, the moment you go to more than 12 phases, and then also maybe probably play for more than 2 minute polling play time, I think we could see some of the guys were starting to get tired. But again, they've managed to bounce back. I'm not saying that they couldn't handle it. You see, they've managed to bounce back. And then the fact that, like I said again, under pressure, they've managed to keep because there were a couple of times where Zim, they had brilliant moments, line breaks, but the way the boys were fighting back, you understand? I think that's character-wise. I think some of our boys, even the youngsters that I've mentioned, they've showed today, like, listen, they really want to be here. Vincent mentioned now we played against a desperate side, and we knew that, listen, if you're going to look at some of the players we had in our team, it's names, well-established names like Lucanio Arms, the Buan Fantas. So we knew for sure that those guys will be motivated. They will want to prove a point against these world-class players in our side, and it showed. They were challenged. And like I said again, I think from my side, more especially as a team, we just need to make sure that how can I put it? I don't want to say too happy, but these boys, they can be proud of what they've done today. Because Zim, again, they are a team that is motivated to go to the World Cup. They want to get better, and I can see their coaching staff. They've got a lot of brilliant coaches that are getting involved, the likes of Simba, and I saw also Strauss is also helping there with their forwards, So they're gonna get better, And as an African brother, I wish them all the best, and then hopefully they can keep on getting better as a team. Yeah, always nice to come back home. And like you said now, Nathan, when you saw the coaches box to have the three of us back together here, I think it was a very, very special moment for us, and like I always say, the vibe here was just something else. It was crazy, in the sense of, people in Eastern Cape, they always bring the good vibe. It's more like a festival. So yeah, it's good to be back at home, and hopefully they are proud of what we have achieved today.
Vincent, just on your part, the challenge of playing 4 lock, how did you find that? How do you measure yourself in that position going forward? And there's also just the challenge of being the experienced head amongst the group of players, a lot of possible around it.
Yeah, I think playing forward, it's I can't say it's something that I'm unfamiliar with, but there's still a lot to learn. Obviously, the shoes of a 4 in the Springbok jersey is quite big shoes, and I'm learning to fill that as I go along. And I have lots of guys around me that are helping me do that to the best of my abilities as well. So it's been quite nice having that support. I think it's beneficial to me that I can, I am versatile enough to move around in those positions and to be able to fill up if there's an opportunity that I can step up in that role. And I think for me, it's just to keep getting better and keep. I also want to become as good as I am as Sim. I want to become a world class forward too as well.